Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Guidance with Gab, Learn and Unlearn All Things Wellness. I know last week we talked about masculine and feminine energy, how society plays a huge role right now in that imbalance, but today we're going to be talking about how I have overcome the need to feel like I need to live in my masculine and how I finally found my feminine flow and how that made me feel so much more balanced and in touch with my true self. So let's rewind. I lived a very hyper independent, masculine energy lifestyle. It was like I needed to do everything, I needed to be in control, I needed to take charge. And that just simply wasn't who I was or who I am at my core. It was a defense mechanism and it was a giant wall that I was putting up in order to feel safe. When we go into any situation, guns blazing, and our walls super high up, it's because we don't feel safe. And because of things in my childhood, because of, relationships that I chose to be in, I felt like I had to be in my masculine. I felt like that was the safest place for me to be because being soft and vulnerable is really scary, especially when you're a woman in dating situations, especially ones where you're not taken seriously or your feelings aren't being cared for. It's easy to mask all of that with heightened masculine energy of logic and separating your feelings and closing yourself off to your true, genuine intuition. It was an easier path for me to take the masculine way versus the soft, gentle, loving, understanding, feminine way. To be feminine, you really need to be soft and, like I said, understanding and caring and gentle and vulnerable. And that is difficult to do when you are hurt. So, this defense mechanism for me was be in my masculine, pretend like I'm not all of those things, even though I so deeply am, because it will save your feelings from being hurt. I also felt this need to overwork myself financially. I think for me, there's also a competitive aspect with pretty much everything I do, which I have been unlearning. But a big part of that was also working out. I obviously have gone through my ups and downs with body image, working out, balance when it comes to working out, to food, to eating. So I was deeply disconnected from my body and what it needed from me. And as we know, the body, the mind, the soul, the spirit, they're all connected. And I was putting my body through it. I was overworking out intensely, sometimes 2 times a day for literally no reason at all, just because I felt like I needed to. That stemmed from feeling not enough, as if I need to look a certain way, be a certain way, as if my body represented my worth and who I was, as if my body was this expression of feminine energy, when at the end of the day I was overworking it like a man. It was so far from me and who I was. And especially as women, when we have our moon cycles, it's so important to flow with it, be aware of it. And I'll get to that a bit later. But I was completely disconnecting from it. I also felt, specifically in relationships, as if I wasn't making the plans, taking the first steps, that then it just wouldn't happen. So in relationships, I was also falling into the masculine role of taking charge, creating plans, setting things up, because I wasn't attracting men who were living in their masculine. I was attracting men who were living in their feminine. And as we talked about last week, that is an ongoing cycle that if you don't find your balance, then you are going to live in that repetitive cycle over and over and over again. I definitely had a wound of feeling not taken care of, especially by romantic partners. And that also stemmed from a childhood, just like childhood shit that builds up. But I didn't feel like I was also attracting partners who were maybe caring in that kind of way. So I felt the need to overcompensate by stepping into my masculine and being hyper independent and putting on the mask of, I don't need anyone. I don't need help from anyone. That was a big thing that I was focused on, was like, I don't even want your help because I don't trust that your help will actually help me. I don't trust that it won't come with consequences. I don't trust that you will actually help me and stay with me. That was huge. And then I was in a relationship where it validated that. I always said, I don't want to take your help because I feel like it might be thrown back in my face, or that you might leave me, that I might finally feel like I can depend on you, and then you will leave me. And that is exactly what happened. And I remember saying that in my like spiral of being broken up with and lashing out, of course, totally uncalled for. But I remember saying, I didn't need your help. I didn't want your help. You convinced me that you could help me. You could be there for me. And the second I let my guard down, you left. And that was very painful for me. So I was having these ideas reinforced time and time again, which made my masculine walls just keep on coming up. And then one day I realized I don't want to live that life anymore. I started doing some more work inward and noticing that I am not connected to my feminine as much as I want to. There was also a lot of shame that I carried around the simple fact of being a woman, because women are shamed and blamed and judged and shit on all the time for simply existing as women. We are so easy to tear apart. And I don't mean that in a like I want to tear other women apart, but we're just easy targets for a lot of people. And for some reason, I feel like there's so much like anger towards women, and they just kind of lashed out on us. They, as in men, but also other women. So I felt like I needed to really do the work and step into my feminine, because I kind of had enough of living a life in my masculine, feeling the need to control literally everything around me. So once I had that realization, I started obviously doing the inner work and looking at things external of me, like, doing research, reading, listening to podcasts, and gathering as much information as I could to help heal this part of me. So I wrote a little list of tips of things that helped me connect back to my feminine. And some of these are silly. Some of these might seem pointless, but they really did help me. And some of them are a little bit deeper. So buckle up. This is going to be all over the place, but they're all very useful because I have gone through it. I've done it. I've done the work, and now I found my balance. So one of these actually has to do with looks, which I feel like could be controversial, but I started wearing dresses a little bit more. And not that I wear dresses all the time now, but while I was in this transition, I really wanted to embody this womanhood, this girly girl energy, and step into it and just get comfortable with it. Because I've always played sports, I've always been into working out, being outside, and I would kind of just wear my workout clothes 99% of the time. And I wanted to really embrace that light, pretty, feminine energy that I do have within me, instead of holding that like hard exterior. I think the things we wear and how we look do impact how we feel to a certain level. So I wanted to feel feminine. I wanted to feel light. I wanted to feel girly, because that's what I was trying to achieve, a closeness to the girl that lived in me, not the boy, not the man, but the girl. I was wearing more flowy dresses. I was putting a little bit more care into my hair. That rhymes. And right now I'm also in a ponytail, not really, and sweatpants. I look like a boy right now making this podcast episode, but just like leave me be, okay? I'm moving tomorrow, and I don't have a lot of stuff out right now. So we'll put that on a back burner. But at the time when I was healing this, I was wearing a lot of dresses, doing my hair, maybe putting a little more focus on makeup, not because I felt like I needed it, but because I wanted to enjoy the process of doing all of that. Because they are core things that for me represent being a girl and that I enjoy doing as a woman. Something else I would do is not over-explain my intuition and my feelings to someone who didn't understand nor care to understand, which typically were men or women who were more closed off to their feminine side. I used to feel this need to like make someone understand how I feel, because something within me, I always feel misunderstood a little bit, and that's something that I've been working on and will probably keep working on. But within that, I was attracting people who wouldn't respect, value my feelings. So within this process of leaning on that feminine energy, which is based off of more emotions, I needed to take a step back and just say, okay, you don't understand my feelings, you don't respect them. Okay, that's on you. I don't need to sit here and stress myself out because you are incapable of connecting to that side of you. I just trusted that my feelings were my feelings. They were valid, they were worthy, and they were okay. And I didn't need to overextend for someone else in order to like feel valued within me. Number 3, something I really worked on was not tearing other women down and trying not to judge them and make the comments that men would make, that if anyone's making them, it should not be a woman. And I think everyone falls into this, I don't know, problematic behavior where we judge people and we criticize and we make comments that it's like, that's none of your business. And I definitely fell into that. So I tried to refrain from doing that. If I felt myself having a comment that would not build a woman up, I would say, oh, we're going to swallow that. We're going to take that back, because that is disconnecting me from my sisters, from my womanhood, from these beautiful ladies who are all going through what I am going through right now. Why am I going to tear you down? It's not building me up. Why am I going to try to say bad things about you? It's not making me better. It's making me worse. It's making me feel worse, look worse, and give off bad energy. And I don't want to do that. Number 4 is creating safe environments for other people and myself. So creating that vulnerable, safe, loving, nurturing, almost like motherly environment. Connecting to that part of you really makes you feel, or at least for me, it made me feel warm and whole inside. It's like, okay, I do have that nurturing, caring, motherly energy within me. I want to share that with others and also with myself. I want to be gentle and soft. And I also want to be okay with being soft. I kind of mentioned it before, but it always felt a little shameful to be soft, as if I need to be a hard badass that was strong-minded. I am sometimes, and I don't know if that's my thick-headedness or being in my masculine. I don't know. I think I'm just like a firecracker. That has nothing to do with me being in my masculine. I think that I'm just a fiery fucking person. But I needed to be okay with being soft and vulnerable and gentle, because that also is a beautiful feminine quality, is being soft with someone and not needing to have these hard walls and this exterior. I was allowed to be soft with other people, and that was so beautiful to do. A practical thing I did was not overwork out. I went from working out like 7 days a week, sometimes 2 times a day, which that is a whole other issue in itself, which maybe one day I'll come on here to talk about. But for now, as we're focused on masculine and feminine energy, I definitely went from doing all of that to 4 days a week, which was a crazy cutback for me. And instead of doing HIIT workouts and lifting heavy weights, I still did that, but I incorporated Pilates, things that made me flow with my breath. I still was doing yoga all the time, but for me, those were a bit different. I would do yoga and also work out. I wouldn't replace a workout with yoga at that time anyway. So for me, incorporating Pilates made me feel more feminine and feel more connected to my body, because instead of trying to turn my mind off when I ran or pushing through by lifting weights, I was connecting deep to my body, to my breath, and feeling the movements through Pilates. If you haven't done Pilates, I suggest it, especially if you're looking for ways to really go in towards the body and you like that mind-body connection when you're working out. And then this flows into the moon cycle, our periods. Women for so long have been almost meant to feel shame and embarrassment around this very beautiful natural experience of womanhood, which is bleeding, which is having a period, which is having a body. I went from disliking having my period, hating it, feeling irritated, wanting to push through it, trying to ignore it, pretending like I don't even have it. There was no connection to what was happening. I went from that to being so grateful when I would get my period. I'm actually smiling right now because that was such a crazy transition for me, from feeling shame, embarrassment, disgust almost around something that was so natural. I started to feel so grateful when I would get my period. Like, wow, my body did that. And I'm not just saying this to be dramatic. This is truly how I feel now. Like, my body is so healthy and capable of giving me a period. That shows health, especially for women. You know, as a woman, that if your period's off, you feel off. There's something wrong. So knowing that I was having healthy periods was, wow, that is so beautiful. I am so lucky to be experiencing this right now. And to take it even a step further, I started to feel like, wow, men, you're missing out right now, because a period is literally a representation of letting go. And I was like, I really get my period on full moons, and full moons, if you've listened to literally anything I say, full moons are there to help you let go. I would have my period and a full moon. Like, I am doubling down on letting go. I have two powerful things, my body and the moon, helping me release things that no longer serve me. How lucky am I to experience this? I'm so sorry, men, that you don't get to shed in that same way. That's truly how I feel now. I went from hating the fact that I was a woman that had a natural bodily function to now feeling sorry for people that don't get to experience that. Right now, I just leaned so deeply into that experience for me, and I feel so grateful that I get to experience it. And getting off birth control also helped that connection to self. Birth control fucked up my period. It messed up a lot of connection to myself. It was actually chaotic. So getting off of it, reconnecting to the body, helped me find my feminine. There's something fun about tracking it on an app and like writing all my symptoms. It's like a game or something to me. I don't know. Like tracking all my symptoms, talking about it with people, having my schedule, knowing when it's coming. It's just exciting. It's like, wow, I'm just a woman. I'm just a girl. Seriously, if you are really looking to dive into your feminine energy, the best way to do it is through the womb, through the reproductive system, because that is your core, that's your essence, that is your womanhood. That is one huge factor that separates the feminine from the masculine. Lastly, I mean, there's a bunch of other things that I've done as well, I'm sure, but these are kind of like the main things that came to me right before I started filming and decided to write up a little quick thing about it. But one of the other big topics was reconnecting with women and really focusing on my relationships with other women. I've had a very unhealthy relationship in my relationships with females. There's been a lot of betrayal, mistrust, and hurt that has happened within my relationships with women, therefore tainting my experiences and my mindset towards having friendships with women. And it was something that really made me sad. I've cried about it before. I don't even know why I want to cry right now. It's made me, sorry, not having those relationships with women really hurt my feelings, and the betrayals that I felt were so real and hurtful, because I think a part of me, not that it's okay, but I expect men to hurt me. I expect men to make the wrong decisions and be fucked up. But I didn't expect that from some of my friends, and so I was very hurt, and that caused me to be jaded. And I remember crying because being a few years ago, I would picture, oh, if I get married, like I will have no girls for the most part, a few, but not a lot of girls to be in a bridal party. If I get married, I won't have a whole group of friends to go to a bachelorette party because most of my friends are guys, which I love them so much, but there's something about connecting with women that is different. And I used to feel really sad about it. So, something I did to reconnect to my feminine was really seek out genuine female friendships that were rooted in love and that respected me and my boundaries and just valued me and didn't shame me or judge me as a person or as a friend. And I sought out friendships where they would have my back and love me. So when I moved to Italy, that was one of my biggest priorities, was making female friends. And now I'm sitting here, I've connected with some of my friends from the past. Kat, if you're watching, I'm specifically talking about you. But I've been trying really hard to connect even with my long distance female friends, that even if we weren't close friends, we had some sort of a bond. I've been really trying to build that up. And also when I moved here, a lot of the friends I made are women. And it's so nice to be able to sit around a table of women and just talk. And yeah, I just feel very grateful because it's crazy. I'm just realizing all of this now that 2 years ago I was crying because I didn't really feel like I had a lot of female friends, and now I'm sitting here thinking about the past week and all the beautiful women and supportive women that I've talked to and hung out with, and I'm just feeling very grateful and proud of myself for working through those issues and coming out the other side. So I'm so sorry about this little cry session. I'm just hit with emotions that I didn't realize I had. This episode has been one for the books. It definitely shocked me. But if you're looking to balance either your masculine or feminine energy and get into either of those, feel free to message me. I love to talk to you guys. I love when I hear comments back. I love just the interaction of it all, because this is why I did this, for connecting, helping, sharing, being with you guys. So overall, connect to yourself, balance within, notice what energies are maybe heightened, which ones need a little bit more love. And if you want to work with me with this, with anything else, shoot me a DM and I would love to. Again, find me Guidance with Gab on anything and everything, Substack, Instagram, YouTube. I've got it all. I'm so thankful for this community and for being able to, come on here and cry and be vulnerable as if you guys are my therapist. I'm so thankful. If you have any topics that you really want me to talk about, I would love to dive into it. So send me any requests, and yeah, I love you guys.